What's up my achievement needers, Mayhem Blizz? We're playing Donut County for the full 1000G. It's on Xbox Game Pass, so if you got that chappy, pick this up. And we'll be copying the full 1000G in just an hour. So let's get started and hit new game. You'll start the game in your bedroom texting, and instead of hitting reply to progress with the story, we need to hit the duck 100 times for the Quack Enthusiast achievement for 90 Gs. So just keep mashing the duck until that pops, and once it pops you're good to mash the reply button, and you'll notice a cross icon appear in the top right hand corner so we can leave the conversation. So click that, and then we're going to drag the blind rail over to the right hand side to open the blinds and head to the next scene. Here you'll be introduced to the game's mechanic. We are basically playing as a hole and we want to swallow up smaller objects into the hole to enlarge it. And we need to swallow all objects in the scene to progress. And please note there is an achievement for swallowing one of every object in the game. It's not missable so we can replay a level, but it's just best to swallow everything that you can and then leave the main scene object till last. And it's quite noticeable, but I'll mention it just in case. So for this scene, the object we want to leave till last is the scooter. So after that sort of tutorial, you'll be taken to the donut shop and we'll need to mash that reply button again to mash through some more texts. And then once you've done that, we're going to hit the cross in the top right hand corner once it appears. So then after a lot of the levels, we will return to our friends here with lots of dialogue to mash through. I'm only going to be showing this once as there is nothing you really need to do here apart from mash the A button. So we'll start with our first real level then, a Potter's Rock. So you want to start with the small items obviously, the pieces of paper and the rocks, and you can get the telescope at the right angle. So basically the key thing is you want to just be patient, position the hole underneath the object, and kind of physics does the rest for you. Obviously if you're too aggressive, the item can shoot out of the hole, so it's easier just to let the item fall into the hole naturally. So get those 3 items and we'll progress to the next scene. Again, let's get the small plant pots out of the way first. And then we can get the cactus and the food bowls. And then we can go through the gate to the next scene. Here, just get some of the buckets and the bricks and the crates. And we can progress larger to the hay bales. And we can get the table at an angle. So we'll position, actually we'll grab the lady first. And then the table. So here we're going to start with the tables and then the pots. We'll leave the boards till later once we're a bit larger. Just continue here. And we can get the plank of wood by tilting it. And that furnace. And once you've passed that scene and move on to the area with the hot air balloon, grab the scooter in the background, and then once you've got those pieces, we're going to swallow the fire pit, and then you will have heat leaving the hole, and you're going to position that underneath the hot air balloon until it's released. And that will net you the Pups Odyssey achievement for 15 Gs. And you're then good to swallow the remaining objects. And the last object here is the oval house, so make sure you leave that one till last. Next up, we're at Ranger Station. So we're going to swallow the small plants and the rocks. And once we're big enough, we're then going to go underneath the snakes. Obviously, if we attempt to go under the snakes too quickly, they'll be moving. So it's best just to get a little bit bigger and then get the snakes later. So get all the plants, all the rocks, and then the snakes. And again, I'm just letting gravity do its job, staying in the same position once they're frightened, and they'll fall directly into the hole. So once you get to this area then, and you are big enough, you'll want to swallow the caged snake. And this is a new mechanic. We can use the snake's tail to interact with other objects to progress. So first we want to hit the leftmost button with the tail to scare the chicken to the ground level. And then next we're going to head over to the chicken at the back on the swing. And we're going to hit it with enough force for him to fall on the ground level as well. And then lastly, head to the sign, bottom right, and we're going to move around the sign to unscrew it. And we're going to force that last chicken to the ground. And that will cause that sign to explode. And then we're back as the whole, and we can swallow the remaining items. There isn't really a last object here, we can simply collect all of the objects to finish the level. We're now onto the Riverbed mission, and we are a pretty small hole, so we're going to collect the fish and the plants and the small stones. We're going to leave the dog for now. And then once we're this size, we can collect the dog. So once we're in this next scene, another new mechanic. If you collect the water and the water has filled your hole, you need to take it to the bird to the back right, and he will drink the water and clear the hole. So clear all of the objects, any water in your hole, take it to the bird, and he will empty that for you. Grab that caravan at an angle. And then we're probably big enough to get the bird now. Actually, I've just missed the plant at the top. Once I notice it, there we go. And it's a little bit glitchy. I have got all the items. Oh, there we are, not sure what happened there. Moving on to the level Campground. For this one, we need to collect obviously some of the smaller objects. So collect some of the cans and the stones. But what we need to do to progress is collect the crates, which is holding up the corn stall. And that will release the corn to fall onto the ground, and then we can collect the corn. And then we should be big enough to collect the fireplace. And their impact in the hole will create some popcorn, and that will release out of the hole. So you want to collect the popcorn again and collect the newly spawned in birds as well. And that will increase the size of your hole. Once you've got that, you'll be large enough to collect the corn stall. Again, just be patient and not move too soon. And then you'll be large enough to collect the tent. This will expand our view. We can collect more tents and more cacti and the fences. And then collecting the last stone will end out the level. And the next level, Hopper Springs. So as you start, we're going to collect the small carrots and these small stepping stones until we're large enough to collect the carrot in the bottom right. So keep collecting those stepping stones Go around to collect the carrot. And then once he's in your hole, you're going to go over to the rabbit on the stone to the right to entice him to come towards it. And then we're going to wrap ourselves around the pen, which the rabbit on the left is stuck in. And we're going to entice him to get through the opening, through the gates, up the ramp, and out of the pen entirely. So once you've enticed him out of the pen and he's bitten your carrot, that sounds wrong, and the same for the one on the right hand side, you're going to swallow them up. And then once we've collected both rabbits, they will mate and reproduce in the hole, making our hole bigger, allowing us to collect some larger objects. So we can collect these carrots, some more stepping stone, and some fences. And you can see more rabbits positioned top left and top right. So once we're large enough, we will dislodge them and collect those. Again, they'll reproduce inside the hole, making it larger. And then we'll do the same for this stone and those rabbits. So that will spit out a bunch of rabbits that have been reproduced. Probably don't move around like I did, otherwise you just have to recollect them. But the building will explode. So collect all of the rabbits and the exploded building, and that will end the level. So we're now on to a Joshua Tree. Now for this level there is a miscellaneous achievement. We need to set the trailer on fire, and how we do that is we collect obviously some of the small stones, and you can see the bird on the barbecue is actually dropping some coal. So what we want to do is once we're big enough we will collect the fire, and then we will collect some coal, and that will ignite a fire in our hole, and we just need to be quick enough to take that to the trailer to set it on fire. So there we are then. Once it's on fire, you'll get the Pyro achievement for 15 Gs. And then to progress, what we want to do is actually create more fires, and we need to set a light to the trees, and that will drop some of the cacti flowers on the branches, and we then can collect those and get larger. So here we are then, collecting some coal and setting the trees alight. We can collect those. They're not even flowers, I don't know what they are. Collect them. And then we'll be big enough to collect the bench and the items on top of it. And then we can collect the caravan. And then eventually that will expand our view, so we can collect some more of the stones. And the car. And the stones in the background. And then we can collect the remaining trees and the bird. Next up, we're on Beach Lot C. So what we're going to do is pick up some of the trash on the floor, and then some of the water and the bricks. So we're starting off pretty small here. So there is another mechanic here. If we go under the firework shop, that will ignite the firework to the right of it, and then we can swallow up the firework and then position ourselves underneath the seagulls to the right. And then that will cause them to drop to the ground level, and then we can swallow them. Once your view has been expanded to this, we want to ignite another firework and swallow it. And then we're going to head under here where the shadow of that ledge is, and we need to hit that 3 times, causing that to drop. So there we are then. We're now good to collect some remaining items. We've got some popcorn going on again. Don't actually remember when we collected some corn, but that's all good. And then we'll have a ending scene here with some fireworks to end out that level. We are now arriving at Gecko Park. So as you start Gecko Park, just get through the conversation by hitting reply, waiting for that X button to appear in the top right to end out the conversation, and then start the level. So these geckos are actually invisible. You can see their eyes and their shape. It might be a little bit difficult to see on my screen, but they are different sizes, so you want to focus on the small ones first. So like I said, we're going to collect the small yellow geckos first and some of the plants. And then once we've got all of those, we're good to move on to the green medium-sized geckos. And then once you've got all of those, we can collect the 3 remaining large geckos. So now there is another miscellaneous achievement on this level. This is for collecting all of the objects on this level, but leaving the radio. Now, because we are going for the achievement for collecting every single type of object, we are actually going to collect the radio in this level, and then once we've completed the game, we'll come back and mop up that achievement later. So here, collect the sprinkler, the gecko, the plants, and the books and the mug. And then we can get the crate and the fan. The flamingos. And again, just get the crate and the radio for now. We'll come back later to get that achievement. And we're actually large enough to get the crocodile himself. So tilt him into the hole. And we're a little too small for the washing line at the moment. We're going to get the bins first, and then the palm tree. And then the washing line. And then we're big enough for the tyres and the junk to the left of the house. And then leaving the house till last. Next up, the chicken barn. So here we want to collect some of these smaller objects, obviously, and the plants, and the bricks and the crates, and the pillow. And then I'm just going to dislodge the raccoon and the book off of the scooter here. And then we're big enough to collect the scooter. Then we're going to collect that caged chicken. And now we are introduced to this little cutscene, and we will be purchasing a upgrade for our hull. So we're going to be mashing reply, and we're going to be purchasing the catapult that we need to complete the level. And we're also going to be purchasing the energy drink for the gamer achievement for 30 Gs. So once you've got that, you're going to hit done. And you can see our hull has got some device on it now, which is our catapult. So what you want to do is you press the A button to catapult the last object that you collected. You can see the object in the top left of your screen. So press A again until we catapult the caged chicken and make sure it lands on the ground to break him free. And then you're going to collect him once more, and you're going to take him to the left side of the barn, and we're going to catapult him up above the hatch on the barn. And then you're going to quickly swallow the sandbag, which is attached to a lever, to open the hatch and let the chicken inside. And this will allow us to progress to the right side of the barn. And what we want to do here is collect the falling egg. So wait for that, and then just look at the shadow where it's going to land and pick it up. Catapult it at the switch there to create some endless eggs. And what you want to do is just make these break on purpose. And we are going to wait to break 3 dozen eggs. And that will get us the Egg Breaker achievement for 30 Gs. And once you've got the achievement, we're good to start collecting those eggs, making our hole bigger. The unlimited eggs will stop once your hole is big enough. Then we can collect the fence and this object here, and the truck and the chicken statue, and the small shed to the left. And don't worry, we did already pick up that red truck from the previous level, so if you didn't get it like me, no worries, you'll still get the achievement at the end of the game. So we are now at Honey Nut Forest. What we're going to do is we're going to collect the small plants again and the rocks. And then head over to the beehives to get the crate and the honeycomb. And what we want to do is we want to collect that. We can catapult it towards the frog, who will eat it and fall into our hole. So collect some more bits, and we now have the frog that we can catapult. So we're going to catapult him towards the bee nest to release a bee. And then we can shoot him up again to collect the bee as well. And obviously if you just stay in the same place where you've released him, you'll catch him no problem. And if you're having trouble collecting the bee's nest, just position yourself underneath the shadow of it. And then you should be big enough to collect the beehives and then the tree trunk. So here we're just going to collect some of the smaller items, and we can release our frog to start collecting the bees up the tree. So collect all of these. And then we're going to collect the scooter and the remaining bee huts. And then we're going to shoot our frog up against the hanging man. Collect him, and then the last barn. So now moving on to the level called Cat Soup, what we're going to do is, like we do before, we're going to collect the bricks and the smaller objects like the plants, until we're big enough to collect the crates and the soup chef himself. So let's collect those. We can collect this water, no problem. And we can collect the crates and the chef. And that will move us to a scene inside the kitchen. So for another miscellaneous achievement, we need to make the secret soup. To do that, we want to collect the cans and pull the lever on the right. And that's going to bring out the soup to the left, so we're going to collect that. And some salt and pepper will appear rotating in front of us. We need to collect 2 salt and 3 pepper in our soup-filled hole for the secret soup. So for every shake of the salt and pepper into your soup, a cockroach will be released. So because we collected 1 salt, we have 1 cockroach, and you'll notice here that 2 cockroaches are released when I collected the pepper. That means I collected 2 parts pepper. So I need 1 more salt and 1 more pepper. So just keep that in mind, keep track of how many cockroaches are released every time you collect a condiment. And if done correctly, the colour of your soup will be this orangey red colour. And you want to feed that to the bird, and that will initiate this cutscene and move you to the next scene. And you'll also get the secret soup achievement for 95 Gs. So now we're big enough to collect the stools and the bricks and these cockroaches, and then we can collect the bench. And we collect the stool, and then we're big enough to get the picnic table in there. And you can see that same red truck, so we could have left that if we wanted to, but we'll collect the other trucks, and this pathway, and the palm trees, and then take care of the oval buildings, and then the restaurant. And that will expand your view, and then swallow the remaining buildings. So then you'll be back at the donut shop, and you'll have a bit of a cutscene, so just let that play out until you have control. And Mira will smash the drone. So now with a hole, we can pick up the bricks and the cacti and the pieces of drone to get larger. And then we'll be large enough to collect the pathway. We will want to collect some more cacti just to make sure that we're big enough to collect it and make it easier for ourselves. Collect this dumpster and these plants. We can collect this palm tree. Again, I could have done that a lot better, letting it all just gravity do the work. We can collect the car and the raccoon. And we're going to leave the donut shop till last. These have to go in a particular order, so we're going to collect the building, and then the mug building, and then the donut last. And you'll get the Donut County achievement for 15 Gs. So now we're on to the abandoned house. And this one is going to be in the dark. And at the start we're going to collect the candles and the objects around the candles. And there is a cat in here with a red mask on that we need to stay away from. It's no biggie if you do get captured. We just need to head back to the fridge to obtain this torch to light up our hole. So we're going to pick up these items. And again, just move slowly, and you can see the cat mask there, so I'm just going to make sure I avoid him and not get in his direction and collect the objects around him. So that mask is okay. It's the one just behind that, which is the cat. And then once we're big enough, it will expand our view, so we'll just keep collecting and going around the cat. We might have to just try and collect him now at this point. Oh, no, it's disappeared. So here we go, we can pull the light switch on the back left. And we can scare Mr. Cat. And then we can collect the remaining items. So we can swallow Mr. Cat up. And we can rejig this table to get the items off of it. Collect the safe and the fridge, and then let gravity do its work to collect those last objects. So now we're outside the abandoned house, so we're just going to collect the bin and this couch, obviously leaving the house till last. So now we're on to Raccoon Lagoon, and we're going to do what we do always, collect some bricks to make our hole a little bit bigger. We can actually collapse this to collect some more planks of wood, and then when we're large enough we can collect some cones. But this one does require the catapult. What we need to do is we need to collect some water balloons from the sort of gumball looking machine, but I guess it's a water balloon machine. And we're going to catapult those balloons into the wheel behind us to get that ride started. So we're going to collect that fish there on that table. We now have the catapult. Press A to get a water balloon, and you can let it smash on the floor and then collect the water. And then once you've collected the water, you can press A to use it on the water wheel. So you're going to rinse and repeat that. So you're going to use the fish to get a water balloon from the machine, shoot that up into the air, let it splatter on the floor, collect the water, and take it to the water wheel. Keep repeating that until the raccoon on the boat has reached the top of the ride. There we are then. And while that's doing, I'm going to collect some of these cones. And what we want to do is collect another water balloon. So we're going to shoot one up into the air, let that splatter, collect the water, and this time we're going to go underneath this piece of the ride and push that up so he can complete the ride. So he's just about big enough to go through the hole. If not, just collect some more fish. And then we can collect the machine. Actually, we do need to get rid of this water, otherwise we can't collect it. So I don't know what I'm doing here, so just get rid of it. So over to the left, we're going to collect some more fences, raccoons, and bins. And then what we want to do is collect some water. And we're going to use this on the Ferris wheel, just off the left of it here. And we need to do that 2 more times, and it will propel itself to the castle, destroying it, allowing us to pick up the castle pieces. So there we are then, a bit of a cutscene. And we also get the flume is doomed for 15 Gs, and now we can collect those remaining items. We do have to fiddle this ride out of the way to get some of those pieces, so fiddle away. And for this, the last piece is going to be the ride. Next up, the 405. So what we're going to do is we're going to collect the small stones and the pieces of paper, and then we're just going to get in front of the car or the back just to dislodge the cup. Collect that, and then our hole will be big enough to swallow up the car. Just get it at the right angle. And that will move us to the next scene, so collect these cones and the bricks. So get the briefcase here, and the smaller items and the chairs. And now we're good enough to pick up this tire and dislodge the TVs, so we can collect all of those. And then we can pick up Mr. Raccoon. And all of these donuts. And then the bench. We do have a catapult here. So moving to the next scene, we're going to use the catapult to catapult a donut into the raccoon's hand, releasing the camera. And then we're going to shoot the camera back up to the raccoon to make him dizzy and crash to the ground. And we're going to do that with all 3 raccoons. And then we're going to pick up the pieces. And then once you've collected all of those pieces and the raccoons, we're going to shoot the raccoons up to the hot air balloon to grapple on. And that will spawn in another raccoon. And what we're going to do is once he lowers himself down to the ground, we're going to shoot the camera up towards him. You do need to do this a couple times to keep him dizzy as he manages to recover here. So again, once he lowers himself, shoot the camera up, make him dizzy, collect the camera again and shoot it up once more. And then we've destroyed him, collect all the pieces. And then we're going to shoot him up to the hot air balloon. Once he's collected, we're going to remove the road barrier and just leave our hole here to collect all of the cars, and that will end out the level. Rightio, after lots of dialogue, we are at this texting section, so just mash that reply button until we get the cross to leave the conversation. So now we can close it, mash through the dialogue, and then we want to collect these smaller items, so the brick, and then the hammer, and then looks like a laptop, and the briefcase, and I don't know if that was a microphone or not. So that will initiate some more dialogue as we cannot collect any more objects, and what they're going to do is give us a hacking device. So we're going to collect that with our hole, and then we're going to go underneath this camera and catapult it towards the camera, and that will hack it and net you the hacker achievement. We're now at the Raccoon HQ level, so collect the blue roll and the coffee cup, and then head out, and then we're going to head to the main hall. In here we're going to collect the batteries, the plant pot, and the phone and pieces of paper. And then once you've got those, you're going to go into the security area and collect the microscope, and then the stool and the raccoon, until we're large enough to get a catapult. So then shoot that underneath this shelf. We've collected a red key, so we can exit out of the security area and back into the labs. And then we're going to shoot that key into the lab 1 biology. So we're going to go in here. Now we're in the biology lab, so we'll start this. And we're going to collect some of these science objects. And the crate and the microscope and the raccoons. And as you can guess, we've got another snake here, so we're going to get a snake tail, and we need to hit these buttons in a particular direction. Now obviously it's quite clear that we need to collect the crate and the bird, but what we need to do is if we hit up, left, down, left really quickly, and then hit grab, that is a secret code to open a secret door for a miscellaneous achievement. Now you'll know you will have done it correctly as you'll see the cutscene opening the secret door, so just keep trying. What you want to do is make sure you're only hitting the button once. The reason you see me failing here is I'm either too slow or I'm double hitting the buttons. So just keep trying until you get that cutscene. And then we're good to maneuver the snake to get these objects. So hit grab to pull out that crate. And then we'll do the up directional buttons, and then right to collect the crate with the bird. And then likewise with the frog. So we'll start with the frog, and we can shoot him up to get these flies. And we do need to get all of the flyers to be able to pull this shelf down, so we're going to collect that one over to the right hand side. And now we're big enough. We can collect some of these crate pieces and shoot the frog up to grab the shelf. And you know what happens with the bunnies? We collect those, they'll reproduce and make our hole a lot bigger. So mash through the dialogue, and that is it for this scene. So starting in the hallway, we are going to collect the bunnies. And once collected, we're going to go into the main hall again. Collect this bunny. You can see he's holding a blue key card. But before we go back to the blue lab, we're going to go through the security door, collect the bunnies in here, go through the open door that we just unlocked, and that will get us the bandit achievement for 90 Gs. Now, I don't know if it's required to pick up the stuff inside this safe. I assume it's not, but just to make sure that we've got every single object for that achievement, let's collect it. So back into the lab, and we're going to shoot the blue keycard to get into lab 2. Anthropology lab, we are now in. And what we want to do here, like before, we're going to collect the small items first. And then the helmets, and then the crates. And then we can collect a raccoon, just about. You can collect that stool in the background if you need it and struggling with the raccoons. And that will be that scene. And then here then we want to pick up the firework from the right and shoot that at the monitor to the left. Now we don't have to press any buttons for that firework to come out, it will come out naturally. And that will get you the Disrespecter achievement for 30 Gs. And likewise, pick up the firework and aim it at the alarm to the right. And that will release these objects from this conveyor belt. And what we want to do is grab the puddle and use it on the exposed cables to the left. And that will move the conveyor belt round. I'm just going to collect some items here. And we can use that bird on the conveyor belt to clear the water from our hole. So we need the water to keep the conveyor belt moving. Use the bird to clear the hole. And then what we're going to do here is this furnace. We need to hit that switch to activate the fire. That will ignite the firework. Collect the firework and shoot it up the cables where that alarm was that we previously hit. So now we're out of there then, we can go into the main hall and these main doors will open, so we're going to head through there. And this is the Trash King's office. And we're going to swallow each donut one by one, just progressing through the hall. And we'll be trapped, and that will initiate a cutscene. So get through the dialogue, and we're coming up to the boss fight. So in this boss fight, what we want to do is just fail on purpose, as there is a game over achievement for 20 Gs. So what you're going to do is you're just going to pretty much stand still, let him kill you, and walk into the bombs that he drops, and just wait for your health bar in the top left to be fully empty, and you get the game over achievement. And once you've got the achievement, you'll just want to mash through the dialogue and you'll eventually get to retry the boss fight. And this time we need to complete the boss fight without getting hit at all. It's pretty straightforward. We just need to pretty much do circles around the maze puzzles and pick up the bombs and catapult them towards him and rinse and repeat. So here I'm just avoiding his target, just going round and round in circles. And now he's going to drop some bombs. Obviously, we can only pick up the small one. So pick up that chap. And underneath him, press A to catapult it and take his life. Or some of it. So now you may as well just practice going around this maze before he starts shooting you. Follow the same path that you're taking, just so you don't get into a dead end. And exactly the same phase, pick up the small bomb, go underneath him and press A. And we only need to do that one more time. So find a path that works. Maybe they're not that one. So again, just doing laps going round, so I'm not getting any dead ends. Get the small bomb. And throw that up into him, maybe better than I am. Mash through the dialogue. And we're going to pick up the hacked device, go underneath and catapult that to the drone. And now what we're going to do is pick up all 6 bombs and throw these back at him. Really easy. And collect all of the pieces. You'll get the flawless achievement for 95 Gs for completing it without getting hit. And then you can see this tornado forming. And before we destroy the building, if you come towards the screen, this statue here, this is another miscellaneous achievement, so make sure you destroy the statue before destroying the building, and you'll get to the dethroner achievement for 90 Gs. So now we can just take care of this building, destroying any wall that's still standing. So this piece on the right I'm missing. And then destroy the remaining part of it. And that will get you the boss fight achievement for 35 Gs for winning it. And then you're just going to mash through the dialogue to complete the level. And you'll be back at the donut shop and you'll get the redeemed achievement for 15 Gs. But we want to control the drone and fly it through the center of the donut, and that will get us the pilot achievement for another 30 Gs. Another thing you want to do is find this anchor, and you're going to follow it up. And keep following it up. And you'll find this ship manned full of raccoons, and you'll get the escape achievement for 95 Gs. And we just want to hit yes to that dialogue option. We're going to get through the credits. And at the end of the credits, you'll be asked whether or not you want to look at the Trashopedia. So we want to answer yes. And then we're going to mash the A button on this right arrow to go through all of the items that we've collected throughout the game. And once you've gone through all of the items, you'll get the nerd achievement for 90 Gs. There we are. So we can hit back. We have one achievement left to do, and that is the radio achievement we mentioned earlier. So we're going to go into levels and select Gecko Park. And unfortunately we do have to get through the dialogue again, so mash that A button on reply. And collect all the geckos. And then when you're here, so it's probably a good option to start with the radio so you can dislodge the crate from underneath it. And now we're in a good position to collect all of the objects and leave that radio behind. And leaving just the radio, you'll get the music lover achievement for 90 Gs. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this quick 1000 G. If you guys could subscribe to the channel and help me reach my goal by the end of the year, that would be awesome. And I'll keep dropping videos like this. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.